Hello, John.
Hello, Alex.
Do you know what I hate?
What do you hate?
I hate breaking kayfabe.
Why do you hate breaking kayfabe?
And, you just you get those smarks, those ham and eggers, the marks out on Midway, and you're just saying, I want to break kayfabe. I want to keep it legit.
Why do you think that you should keep it legit for the marks? They're marks.
I'm not sure. That's every single wrestling term I remembered used in one sentence.
What about a smackdown or a
yes
stamp off? What are they?
You know what I love? Slobber knockers.
That's okay.
My God, King, he's killing them. So we watched The Iron Claw.
RASSLIN, that's wrestling. Well, I love to watch the missing link bang his head on a corner post and the romper bumper butt delivered by the Iceman. The Freebirds, Roberts, Hayes, and Gardy, but what I like the most is Kerry delivering the Iron Claw as only the Von Erichs can.
All right, so I want to get ahead of this. I don't know anything about the Von Erichs.
Okay,
other than this movie.
That surprised me because that's part of why I chose this, because I knew that you were a WrestleMan.
I was a WrestleMan.
You had some knowledge.
I was a WrestleMan in high school, and I was aware of like this famous family, the Von Erichs, and I knew that I thought they were murdered. I guess they just killed themselves or whatever. And I think I knew that the one guy had a fake foot, but like I just know like that was before my time. So like I just knew it as a. So going into this like with very little background, I gotta say, just beaming. Just what a joy of a movie. I mean, you just come out the other side, just feeling like sunshine and roses, saying like, you know what, that was 2 hours of my life that I'm glad I spent feeling good about things.
The feel-good movie of the year. Yeah,
it is. Zac Efron, who I don't know at all, other than there's a guy called Zac Efron. He's kind of amazing in this.
Yeah, like I only know him through internet hatred of him. Like, because he was in those High School Musical movies.
Oh, is that what it? Okay.
So he was always kind of associated with that stuff, and like it was just like, hey, I'm an adult man. I don't care about your teenage nonsense. And just didn't really put much thought into him existing or whatever. But then I saw this, and he is really good in this. I really like him.
Now that I'm looking at his IMDb, I've literally I haven't seen a single thing that he's in.
Because he's got some like, prosthetic face makeup on or whatever, but he's a bulky dude. And like, this is the first time in a long time that I've seen a person like that in a movie and it looks awkward. You know what I mean? Like him moving with that bulk. And this isn't a knock on the performance. It just seemed like perfect for that character too. That he's just this bulky thumb moving around through stuff.
Oh, does his face not look like that in real life?
No, he's got much more of a slimmer jaw and like, it's not tons, but obviously the He-Man.
He's not someone I would recognize. I mean, obviously I know the name, but yeah, mostly from.
But it's almost like the Nicole Kidman in The Hours wearing a prosthetic nose thing, where it's like, or Charlize Theron gaining that weight for Monster, where you're like, oh, as soon as I realize I'm not looking at Zac Efron, I can go, oh, this guy's actually a decent actor.
More like the hourglass figure, am I right?
Yeah. Zac Efron?
Yes. So I was surprised. Here's a couple things I was surprised by in this movie. The lack of wrestlers. Like I was expecting there to be more like, hey, that's guy. Right. And I don't think I recognized a single person. Well, there was one guy. Hold on, I'm going to find it. The Olympic coach was played by Michael Papajohn. And I recognized him immediately.
Of course.
From that pizza place I used to hang out at. No, I didn't recognize any of the. Apparently, Chavo Guerrero Jr. was in this, so I know who that is, but I didn't recognize him. But he played the Sheik, which I think he was on screen for about 7 seconds.
Yeah, which I loved. I loved that. Just the callback to just that shitty 80s, I'm from a different place than you kind of wrestling guy.
I mean, it's a good character.
Yeah.
Because he speaks differently.
Yeah.
I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the other thing I just, before we even talk about the movie at all, I loved Manhunter, and I was really glad that that guy was in this.
You mean Mindhunter?
Mindhunter. I said Manhunter, didn't I?
Yeah, I have not seen Mindhunter, but when I looked up that guy, I saw that credit.
Mindhunter is terrific. When I made notes earlier, I typed in Manhunter, and I literally had the thought, don't say that. And then I did.
But I like, and I honestly mean this because this is exactly something I would do. Rather than go back and fix it, you're like, no, I'll just remember.
No, it's not in the notes.
Oh, okay.
I wrote the guy from Manhunter and then went, oh, no, that's not the name of it. Wrote down Holt McCallany's name.
Yeah.
And then didn't look at that and said Manhunter because I'm a fucking dummy.
Oh, okay, sure. I mean, it's basically getting to the same point that I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, but he's terrific. And I just realized now that was Maura Tierney. I didn't know that.
And I thought she was great. I was very excited to see her again.
I think that is a lot of makeup because I just saw her in the Twister remake or sequel or whatever. And she looks much better in that.
Yeah, I mean, because they have her kind of playing a younger version of herself too, I think, at one point. So.
Oh, I don't know. I barely paid attention. I saw the trailer and I'm like, hey, that's famously Lawrence Tierney's daughter. Famed nice guy Lawrence Tierney.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, one thing I will say this way right off the bat, a couple of things bothered me about it. One is that I couldn't stop thinking about the Great Panther from Nintendo's Pro Wrestling.
Okay, fair
because
enough.
his move was the claw, I believe the Iron Claw. And also, and this is, I blame the critic Matt Zeller Seitz for this because he brought this up. And not just specifically for this movie, but this is a movie that's taking place in 70s, early 80s in the South, in Texas. It looks like it should smell like smoke, which is great. That's what you want out of this.
Oh, that's a really good
smokes.
Point.
No one smokes this entire movie.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
If you, because you honestly, you wouldn't necessarily notice it, but having just read the whole thing you wrote about that was in the back of my mind. And then it just really stuck out there. That's weird, but
yeah,
fine. No, that's not a reason to hate the movie or anything.
That would have been thick with smoke. That's funny. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. It's funny how much, I went to the speakeasy here in Portland the other night. And the last time I'd been there was 10 plus years ago, when they were still smoking. And the guy behind the bar and I were kind of, going back and forth of just how disgusting it was in there back in the smoking days, and just a wall of smoke.
Oh yeah.
I would like to, and then it just because I think one of the only random Alex knocks on this film, and this is not about men's bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many Ric Flair promos you've ever seen in your life, but he is a million times better than whatever abomination they had playing Ric Flair in this movie. That promo was dog shit.
Yeah.
It made me sad how little charisma and energy that man brought to a Ric Flair promo. That's
how they massacred my boy.
Yeah, it's very not good.
Yeah, not great. I will say that I found this movie just sort of aggressively okay. It's good. That's underselling it a bit. It is a good movie, but I kind of thought it was a bit repetitive and sort of all these tragedy are happening, but all the characters kind of stayed the same note. There didn't seem to be a lot of change, but it was still an interesting enough story. And I thought the performances were good, but it's just they felt like they could have done more. With the Zac Efron character, with Kevin Von Erich, that made the most sense since he was just sort of punch it all down and be a man and whatever. But it just didn't, for every character to be like that was a little.
Yeah, it's too long, and it has nothing to say. There's no point. It's just a vague biopic. Maybe it's a discussion of toxic masculinity, but
I think it's. I mean, I could totally see it sort of being about sort of the family, the thing that sort of binds you together, but also the toxic thing that's killing you. Because it's not just their awful, overbearing patriarch. That's part of it, but just that the way they interact with each other and all that stuff. And they're sort of and Kevin's refusal to do anything outside of their brothers, really.
Yeah, so I guess that's not enough for a movie to make a movie worthwhile to me. That's not.
I don't think it's point. It's very well explored, but I think that's I think that's there.
Because also it's and Zac Efron he doesn't really I guess at the end he kind of learns a lesson, but it's basically well, I didn't die. Turns out my dad was a piece of shit and was running the business into the ground. Guess I'm going to sell it. Yeah, it's not a particularly, I don't know. And the thing is, I'm down on this. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was shot really well. I think it
looks
good.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And a lot of the performances are really great. It needed something more. I think I needed a little bit more of Kevin's career. Because I don't know what he was doing towards the end. I get he was still a wrestler, but I don't know. I just kind of wanted maybe, I don't know. I just wanted something a little bit like ground me more, or like follow Carrie a little bit more. But like it just seemed like I don't know what the story was for that third act. It was just kind of like
Carrie's bit, played by Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, was a little weird because it felt very like elliptical. In like there were these huge swaths that were just gone.
Yeah,
and you kind of just got pieces of his story because you're mainly like with Kevin or whatever. So I feel like some of his tragedy just is sort of backgrounded a bit as just sort of like, well, and then this happened to this other guy and Kevin felt bad about it. That would have been a little bit more interesting to explore with him a bit.
Yeah, and like the kind of reveal of how he lost his foot was weird. I
mean, again, like they just a huge ellipsis of that. Like he goes riding and then the next day he doesn't have a foot.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I don't need like gritty detail. It's just this whole movie was a lot of that, where it's just like kind of, it was almost like that that Seinfeld yada yada yada. There's like a lot of yada yada yada, and for a movie that's over 2 hours, it just doesn't. And they didn't tell that much story. It's just, I don't know. I was left in want, but the performances are really good. There's one spot in particular. I don't know the mother's name. Doris watches David win the world championship title for the first time, and her face is just blank.
Yeah,
she doesn't emote, and it's like, oh, yeah. that's big right there. Like that is, oof, you're bringing something. Like there's like that is more character building than you're going to get in a lot of movies.
Yeah, well, I think that's sort of the end thing of them sort of breaking out. You know, with her like, oh, I'm going to go back into painting and whatever, is that them sort of breaking out of that trap that is their family. That's actually the curse of them just being forced to be together, I guess.
Forced to be with the father.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, like, yeah, what a big reveal. Like, oh, I'm going to go back to painting. You're still living with the man that is essentially responsible for the death of 5 of your children.
Right. Yeah. It's a huge factor in that.
Yeah.
Well, there's the one Von Erich that they completely just left out. Chris Von Erich, the actual youngest member of the Von Erich family. He's not in the movie. They just wrote him out.
I heard references that like also that the real Von Erich story is actually a lot darker than this.
That would not surprise me.
That Papa Von Erich apparently like literally did like promos based around his son's death and made money off of it. Like whichever the first one that died.
Ooh,
yeah. I mean, this is very much.
Yeah.
I heard references to this. I'm not trying to. Because I did that I realized at one point I was talking about Jason Momoa being problematic, and I realized like I got that from like 2 TikTok stories and like 1 X. Like I shouldn't fucking, I shouldn't be saying this on. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody knows listening to me talk that I'm not a news source, but like I should probably be like slightly more careful talking about the people that are. I think some of the Von Erichs are still alive.
I couldn't help but think of speaking of celebrity gossip. Of Jeremy Allen White, playing Carrie, like, all the brothers got buff for this, but he got super buff and was like this underwear ad where he was like running around.
That's Gene Wilder.
The dude looks like Gene Wilder.
Okay, yeah.
That because he's on the Bear and they talk to this woman that's like, I don't know if she's on the Bear with him. I don't know if like she's the love interest on the Bear, something like that. But I kept seeing, it was like the Emmys or something like that, where this commercial with him in his underwear hopping around was in the news like right before that, around this time. And they asked this woman like, oh, have you seen that? Have you seen that? And she's like, okay, I'm his coworker.
Yeah.
This is really weird that you're asking me like this. Like I work with him, and that kind of, breaking down of like, yeah, this isn't real. We're playing pretend. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice though.
It'd be weird for me to go like, gaga goo goo. Look at that guy.
Yeah, but it's nice to finally get a little equality, that finally women get asked the questions that men have been getting for years. Finally, some equality.
Yeah.
He looks like Gene Wilder, and it was distracting to me. And that's not, it's just, that was hard for me.
And that's, I think that's something that's frustrating about going back to sort of the elliptical stuff is his story is very fascinating to me. And it's just sort of like this piece in a larger thing where he was training to be in the Olympics when we went, we're not going to be in the Olympics. And then he's like, well, fuck, that was my goal. That's gone now. I guess I'll go into wrestling. A coin flip decides who's going to be like the champion wrestler. He goes for it and then immediately loses a foot. I mean, it'd be a bummer movie that ends with him killing himself, but that's at least like this story of this downfall or whatever. Whereas this is just kind of like, and then this happened. Can you believe that? And then they were out of avocados at the store.
Fucking millennials. One of the things that I really hate about movies, and this one does it, and it's a very minor thing, just because you brought up the suicide, or one of them. when somebody shoots themselves in the heart, it just, no one, why would, you're going to shoot yourself in the brain? No one's going to hold their gun out. Like, that's such a weird angle.
Yeah.
And also,
I feel like it's been done, but it's still just
oh,
weird.
no, I know.
Yeah.
But it just seems, it's not very, it's not cinematic looking. But also, there was very little blood for a bullet going through someone's blood factory. Like, you're putting a bullet through the blood factory. That's going to be a lot more blood than like, there's like a bit of a drip. It was
There's
fine.
just some.
Yeah.
Maybe it all came out the back.
No, they showed the blood on the dirt.
Oh, right.
And it was
Yeah.
It was like, you know, a
Blood
quarter
dirt.
of a pint. Like, I mean, it was like, it should be, though, his whole fucking shirt should be, it's small beer. It's just, if you're going to go through the point of doing a graphic suicide deal, don't half-ass it.
Well, I think they wanted the graphic to come from the emotions and not the gore.
Oh, those emotion things. Yeah, I gotta
it's
look
not
into
worth
getting
it.
some of those. Yeah.
Nah, it's not worth it. Waste of time.
Though to be fair, not to go directly to the end, but boy, the full tears at the end of this movie.
It's very moving, and I do the Lord of the Rings ass ending is dumb and kind of counterpoint to all of it, but I did like it. Like if you take it as
You mean when the fabulous Freebirds flew in and picked them up off the lava of
they
Mount
dropped
Doom?
their dad into Mount Doom. No,
Look,
but like when
no, we have to stop here. I'm so proud of myself that I remember the fabulous Freebirds and compared them to the Eagles in Lord of the Rings. Everybody at home that's listening, Alex finally said something good. You can stop writing in and saying John's the only good one. He's carrying
I will
that
stop
dead weight
writing
of
in and
Alex.
saying that.
Oh, yeah, that is your account.
Yeah, it's just the one email that we get.
Okay, now back to another 170 episodes where I say nothing amusing.
But the at the end, it's like all this tragedies happen to the family, and I'm assuming that I took it as sort of Kevin kind of like wistfully imagining his brothers reuniting in the afterlife. Because otherwise, again, the message of the movie is like, yeah, I mean, this is all bad and tragic, but when you die, it's all going to be fine. Which I know that's the inherent thing of
No, I took that as imagining, because it's like he's not exactly a smart guy. Like, I think it's, or at least he's not portrayed that way. So the movie opens up with just, we're introducing the characters, yada, yada, they're working out. And I really like how quickly we establish a couple of things. So like, we meet the family, they're sitting at the breakfast table, and the dad decides to rank how much he likes his sons.
That is hilarious.
And then says, oh, my rankings will change, which it's like, we don't know the tone of this movie yet. I mean, I think we're probably going to be aware of it, but like, that is such expeditious, which I'm not sure if that's the right word, but we're saying it, just setting up characters. You know it. Oh, there's a rivalry, but they love each other. The dad's obviously a piece of shit. The mom is just deadpan. You're like, that was very short work to tell me where I am.
Yeah, just matter of factly, like you all know that my ranking goes Carrie, Kevin.
Yeah.
That could change at any time.
And then that going immediately into Zac Efron looking, his body is gorgeous in this. Like, it's been a while since I objectified a man, but like, I mean, and the gorgeous to the point that he's disgusting looking, but like he is swole as fuck.
Yeah, he's very swole.
He tries to cut a promo and he just sucks on the mic. And I really like that. Like, and I don't think they go back to that enough of just how much like this guy would have been the best in the world, but he needed somebody else to do the talking for him.
Right.
And it's like, wow, how great. That's the first like 15 minutes. Like, I got everything I need here.
He's very much like Goku. Like he's super strong, has busted exactly twice. And that's it. Like, that's all you need to know about him. And he just cares about his family and fighting.
Yeah, but Goku could use telepathy that one time, which was weird. He also gives a lot of speeches for no good reason, which I feel like,
That's true. And he dies more. He's the one that dies the most compared to like.
Oh yeah, Goku dies more than the Von Erichs.
Yeah.
I also should say, just going
Dragon
back
Ball spoiler, by the way.
I need to objectify men some more. What's Gene Wilder's real name?
Gene Wilder.
No, I mean in the movie. The bear. What's the bear's real name?
Jeremy Allen White.
Jeremy Allen White has no penis. There is multiple shots of him wearing tighty whities, and there is like an anti-bulge. Like, it actually sucks back in. It was shocking.
Hold on, I've got to look up Jeremy Allen White penis. It's not already bookmarked, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. No, the results inconclusive.
Well, they maybe type bulge instead of penis, because there's a couple times he's in tighty whities. Because I just noticed it because Zac Efron's like packing, and like he has an adult human genitals.
In the Calvin Klein ad, you can see. I mean, this could be digitally enhanced, but there's something there.
Oh, is it? Wait, I'm going to compare. This is going to be John and Alex compare penis.
John and Alex rate dogs.
What's his name again?
Jard. Sorry, Jard got me. Jeremy
Allen White. There it is. All right. He's really, really low build on IMDb for some reason, which is odd.
I think that might be like in like order of appearance. Because it's like in credits order.
Yeah. You might be right about that. Okay. I'm looking at his crotch right now. I'm checking out some crotch.
He could also be a grower, not a shower.
Yummy noises. No, he definitely looks a lot better in these Calvin Kleins. Maybe those tidy white, or this could be digitally enhanced, or those tidy whiteys just weren't doing anything for him. Yeah, this guy's shredded. The problem is he's shredded, but he's got Gene Wilder face, so it's like it doesn't like
it's weird. It's like Carrot Top being shredded. It's just like something I don't like about it.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but it's not that bad. That's well,
like because Carrot Top's upsetting looking in general.
Yeah, no, Carrot Top's like the Nuremberg trials. Like that is a. Well, I guess ostensibly they're a good thing, but also highly disturbing.
Right. I also couldn't help, and just with my poor knowledge of this whole family, but like. I kept waiting for like a Napoleon Dynamite movie to break out because they all just look like characters in Napoleon Dynamite, but just more buff.
Especially the
like
kind of
some Napoleon Dynamite erotic fan fiction.
Yeah, you think I throw this discus over that mountain over there? Yeah. The scrawny brother, Dave.
The one who's still a wrestler, or the one that wants to be a musician.
The musician.
The musician is Mike.
He's got a definitely Napoleon Dynamite vibe because he's got a weird face and like. Rather bald for someone that I think is supposed to be in high school.
I was going to say like he's
got a severe, I don't know, comb forward. I don't know what you call the comb forward from the back. Yeah.
That's a comb forward.
Yeah. A lot of, the ages in this movie are kind of hilarious because I think Zac Efron's supposed to be, when the movie starts, he's supposed to be like, early 20s. Mm-hmm. And that's not an early 20s man right there.
While we're still on the body thing, really upsetting to me that he wrestles barefoot. Just like I just couldn't. I am famously not a feet person, but like I was just like, you're gonna get stepped on. Like you're gonna hurt your feet.
Weirdly enough, you going, oh, he's just gonna get stepped on. Rather a feet.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Nice work. Man, you're just killing it this episode. You're looking at dongs. Great wordplay.
Yeah. Slight homophobia. There is a current wrestler. And I don't know anything about him, but TikTok every now and again decides that I want to watch wrestling, and I don't. And then sometimes it'll be somebody really funny doing a promo, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, I want to watch that. Yeah. But there's a current wrestler that's like, he's got like a George of the Jungle gimmick. Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't come out in a swing, but like he's got long hair and he comes out in bare feet.
Okay.
And I'm like, that seems really gross, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I think it's just my opposition to being barefoot in general. But it's like, was Superfly, was he barefoot as well? That seems like something that would be part of his gimmick, but I don't remember.
No, I know he killed somebody once. He also hit on my mom's friend when we were at Villa Roma Resorts in the Poconos when I was younger.
Fun.
I don't know if that was in the Poconos, just for any Villa Roma heads out there. I apologize if that's the wrong mountain range.
The Villa Roma subreddit's going nuts right now.
There's the Poconos, and then there's another, there's two different mountain ranges that have dumb shit in it on the East Coast. I get them confused. I can't even remember the second one. Cascades? No, that's here. I really wish you'd start talking about something that isn't this.
No, I'm enjoying this.
I've never wanted you to start saying things more. On that note, at Villa Roma, the night that Superfly Jimmy Snuka hit on my mom's friend, some random 34-year-old guy, when we were about 8, bought us Sex on the Beaches and gave us drinks.
Huh. We just kind of a breakthrough here.
No. I felt no, it was nothing happened, which was really annoying because he fucked my friend. And I was like, oh, it's like the first time I ever really felt ugly.
Man, well, again, groundbreaking.
JK, he didn't fuck my friend. Nothing happened. It was just like a really inappropriate thing that I thought of years. It was actually really wholesome. It was just, this guy was like, I don't know, when I was young, some fucking guy gave me drinks, and and it was actually like a really wholesome thing. But like looking back, you're like, there's 9 ways that could have gone bad.
Yeah, that's real weird.
Yeah. My friend's mom just getting railed by Superfly upstairs.
Okay, here's a segue out of this. Going off of your TikTok thing. I saw some wrestling promo the other day with Mark Henry talking about how he absolutely wanted to kill Shawn Michaels, and that's kind of why he got kicked out, like got exiled to Canada for a bit, because like he threatened to kill Shawn Michaels, and then because like he thought Shawn Michaels hid something of his, but then
Wait, Mark Henry,
I think that was the guy's name, big
giant black dude.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
he was like, the world's strongest man. Oh, okay.
yeah. And then he, but it turns out it was something that Paul Bearer did, and he's telling the story on like a wrestling podcast, and I forget who the other host was, but one of them was The Undertaker, and The Undertaker laughing is one of the most just chilling sights I've ever seen.
He's like a YouTuber now and doing really well. I don't know if he says The Undertaker like his real name, Mark something, but yeah, it's weird to hear him laugh and like talk like a person. just like his face, like his eyes didn't move, but he was laughing. He didn't have like laughing eyes. Like how, I could do it, like I can smile, but your eyes aren't smiling, that kind of thing. But with laughing, it's not good. Smiling is that's an emotion thing. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Still going to look into that.
It's a thing that people don't do when you make a joke.
I know. Thank you. I know. I've looked into this before. You've been telling me since the early Alex Cast days. Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of which,
smile more on the radio.
We're not on a topic right now.
Really?
I had to spend money to transfer the Alex Cast to a new domain. Uh-huh. So if anybody, for any reason, wants to listen to those old episodes, please grab them and give me a reason that I'm spending money on this fucking archive of a show that hasn't been around for that long. That would be great. Or sign up to our Patreon, patreon.com/AlexBollen, ALEXXBOLLEN. And you can hear John and I talk about Madam Web, Barbie, Blood and Donuts maybe is on there. I can't think of anything we've done. That was like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, you should just start putting them on Patreon. Make it their problem.
I did that originally when it was just my Patreon, and no one listened to it, and I found it really awkward. The point is, give me money, audience at home. Half of that goes to John.
But yes, anyway, back to the movie. I mean,
we should talk about them meeting Pam, or him meeting Pam.
Sure. Yeah.
I get this needs to be in the movie, but what a nothing character. Like,
you really thought kind of more was going to come out of it.
Yeah, right? Because like she's kind of forward and free thinking, and especially for the time, you're like, oh, cool. This will be good because this guy's like under the thumb of his dad and like free thinking lady. Something's going to come of it. I thought like she's probably going to fuck one of the brothers. This is going to be like a whole thing, and it turns out like, nah, she's like a nice lady that has his kid. Like there's nothing. There's literally,
and it's great. And...
she doesn't push him to do anything. At one point, you're like, hey man, I'm going to put my foot down. You as my husband and the father of my child, I would like it if you like live with us. That was like, that's, oh, cool. That's what a dynamic character. How great.
Yeah. And like, it's, I feel like we've spent most of this time so far kind of slagging on stuff, but I did enjoy the movie. Like it is a good movie. It's just like, it's lacking a lot. And, we've talked a lot about like the sort of the near misses being more frustrating than like just things that are just outright suck. But like, there's still a ton to enjoy about this. But it's still just like, this is like, I'm a big B plus student. Then my teacher'd be like, oh, if he just applied himself more. It's that I'm giving this movie that speech. Like, you did good, but you could do better. And the movie's like, I did good enough. Thank you.
Yeah, that is my exact thing, is that this movie has the capability more, and also it stinks of cut storyline. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like this movie probably was originally like 245, and they excised a bunch. Because, like, some of those, like, we're talking about it being like a kind of ellipses, feels like there probably was stuff there. But on a positive note, let's you're right. Let's do some positives. Zac Efron is very believable in ring. And wrestling is very difficult. Like, I've taken one bump once and I hurt for a week. And I was fucking 19. And like I could bounce off. I was a skateboard. I could fall down flights of stairs, bounce off my head, and be fine the next day. I was in a ring once. Someone showed me how to do it. I fell and my back hurt for 3 days.
Yeah.
That shit's hard. And this is like a pretty boy actor that's known for singing, and he looks good as shit in the ring. I mean, you're not going to do a real match, but like he was believable, which is really impressive.
Well, and just the one of the first bits we get with him is when he gets thrown out of the ring onto like concrete. And his dad's like, you didn't get up. It took you a long time to get up. And he's like, I fell on concrete, but I'll do better. I'll do better.
Yeah. It's like literally my body wouldn't respond to my instructions.
Yeah. And I will absolutely for saying that this movie is sort of like one, kind of stays in the same tone. And a lot of it is sort of like the shitty patriarch that played by you mentioned him already, but Hoyt McNally, or sorry, Hoyt McCallany.
McCallany.
Thinking of Hoyt Axton. Holt McCallany.
Oh, from True Blood? Yeah, he was great. When he was with Vampire Jessica, my favorite.
Good stuff. But did Holt McCallany like?
Why do I keep bringing up True Blood?
Because you love True Blood.
No,
you've been watching it.
I literally stopped watching it.
No, you didn't.
My brain doesn't work.
This is an act.
No, it's not. This reminds me of that one time that I called Philip Seymour Hoffman the guy from fucking Hunger Games, and it just like it hurt my soul. And like I felt bad about it for like days afterwards.
Oh no, I get it. Where like you just know someone from like the worst possible thing. I'm sure I have something like that. Nothing comes to mind right now. But
hi, I'm Alex. I'm the old host of the Alex Cast.
But anyway, that Holt McCallany's character is not like he's an overbearing awful guy, but he could be like so much more like mustache twirly and shitty in a worse movie. And I do think that like his awfulness is still like reasonable, if that makes sense. Like you can see why he's acting like this. It's not just cartoon villainy. It's not good what he's doing, but it's still like it's in the realm of human behavior.
No, he is very viable. I get it. It works. I just would like the people around him to respond to it in a what I would like to call dramatic or filmic way, not just take it like a bunch of dopes and kill yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get a little bit of that when Carrie gives him the gun as a gift, and then sort of freaks out about his like not wanting to shoot it. That's like the one time there's tension. Really. Yeah,
I mean, I guess, but that didn't even really track to me, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like compared to like what you think should be happening or what it's trying to say, it feels very, very muted and whatever. And I mean, maybe that was the reality of it, but that's not necessarily what makes a good movie.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw fit to get rid of an entire human being in this movie. You could add some stuff.
Even in the scene where Carrie kills himself and then Kevin jumps on the dad and chokes him. Fucking punch him. Like I get the choking was dramatic or whatever, but land a solid punch. Like it just, the drama of the situation. I don't know. There's a couple spots. Yeah, right. I keep going back to complaining. It's just like, it's such a tiny little thing of like, as far as catharsis, meat slapping sound of fist hitting face would be so much better than just like, yeah, I'm going to choke you.
But I think the idea of, cause you can't do the iron claw to your dad. Like, you can't, like, do that wrestling move here. That's dumb. But, like, having him do the Iron Claw to his neck, that's a little bit more symbolic in that the claw has become the claw E. But I did like, and I'm assuming this was a real thing that happened. I don't know. But when he does that to Ric Flair, when he just, like, blows the match just to hurt Ric Flair by giving him the Iron Claw forever. And I like that. Yeah,
and Flair's response is good. But it just didn't seem like Flair.
He just got kicked out of there's some video online of him getting like kicked out of some establishment for being too drunk.
Yeah, he's a fucking train wreck, but his promos were terrific. His promos and Randy Savage are, for different reasons, the best promos you can ever watch.
Which this movie captures something, to say something very positive about it, like the behind the scenes stuff of wrestling. This movie made that very interesting.
Yeah,
or something that that I wanted to know more about. Particularly like outside of Vince McMahon, but just like the way that they're talking, like when it's Davey's first match and the guy's like running through, okay, you're going to go do that. And then I'm going to back you in the corner, but don't leave me there too long. And all that. It seems like they're just making it up on the fly almost, you know?
Yeah.
And that sort of, seeing how the sausage is made, I really enjoyed.
No, I like that too. There's a great, compilation you can find. Well, there's many of them, but, so when you're wrestling, the senior person, generally they call it calling shots. So you get real close and go like, all right, I'm going to flip you into the board, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell you what's happening next in the match. But John Cena famously sucks at doing it silently. So there's whole compilations of him just going, I'm about to put you in a headlock. I mean, not that, but he's just like so bad at doing it subtly. And there's all these compilations of him just like seeing exactly what's there. It's really funny.
Oh, that's so funny.
Another positive thing. I know you and I both stan a montage. Fucking that Rush montage. That's one of the best things that's ever been in a movie ever.
It was great. I didn't realize that it's like, oh, that was their song, which like, you know, that's what they came out to. Okay. It didn't really matter to me. That's a little bit of, Han finding his dice or whatever. Like, it's a thing I don't really care about or that matters that much. But they sold it. They like it. It made it seem like this. It wasn't just that. Oh, this is the song they used. It was what that song represented to them, and just I really like that a lot. And
Yeah.
The kid who introduces him to it, the brother, the aforementioned Mike Von Erich, played by Stanley Simons. Well, I really liked that kid. I thought he was good. I'm a kid. He's probably, almost 30 or something. But
Yeah.
I like that him playing the sort of the weaker brother and how that they still like supported him and loved him. Not the dad so much, but that they were all like, "Hey, you want to be a musician? Fine, let's go hang out and you can go be a musician."
Yeah. It just from a dramatic perspective, I wish we'd just done more with that. Like
Mm-hmm.
have him go, I don't want to be a wrestler. Like, or like, it's just kind of like, it's just a lot of like, just people are just doing what they're doing.
That's what, yeah. I mean, and that's like the fact that, and you can't, the chronology of this movie, like that. Yeah, he died after David died. Again, from a victim of being sort of like forced into doing a thing he didn't necessarily want to do. Although David was really into it, but David just couldn't. He had to go fight in Japan. He was injured, but he's like, I'm not giving this up because people will be, I've let the family down. And again, that the sort of the what that pressure does to a person, but like him getting toxic shock syndrome is such like the doctor even says, like, it's rare, but it happens. Feels less like a direct, it's because of this, is more like, well, shit, this was a fluke. He would have been in this situation anyway had he not been wrestling, but it felt a little bit like less a direct line to that.
Yeah. The whatever his name is, vomiting up blood at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And then them just like laughing, like, of course you're going to Japan. Like, that was so brutal when he said,
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen, but you're like, oh, that's rough.
Yeah, it's not going to end well. But I also totally get that from someone that's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, like a leg fell off, but I don't want to do it.
Especially for wrestlers, where it's just like, that's their whole, like, you just take drugs and just deal with it. Yeah, you're always hurt. Oh, there was another great moment. So like, so the brother breaks his arm, goes into a coma, gets a little like brain weird, can't play the guitar anymore, and basically decides to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
Which goes back to the thing I say in every episode. This is why you don't let yourself care about anything. Because if you don't care about anything, it can't be taken away from you.
The lesson is never try.
Exactly. But after that point, this was another really effective scene that I really liked. Kevin isn't going home because he's so terrified that his wife and his baby will like catch the curse.
Mm-hmm.
That he's like so convinced, because also they're raised in this like super religious household, like they're superstitious thinkers, and he is terrified. So he's sleeping in the fucking office just to make sure that his wife and kid don't get the curse. And we're like, that was fucking cool. Like it was a nice character beat.
I am kind of fascinated though by that, because it's a curse of the name, and his dad took his grandmother's name. Like, it doesn't really go into why that happened or whatever, but just that name is cursed and it's been befallen everything. So if if his dad was like, well, it won't happen to me, but it continues to happen to everyone. I thought that was sort of, I thought they were going to do more with that, or like, they're not going to turn into a horror movie where it's like, but it's also like, this is a solvable problem. Just change your name. It's fine.
Can I do a Norm Macdonald joke for that?
Yeah, please do.
So turns out a grandmother's name, Van Erich, that translates to from Dutch, Hitler.
That was a
good Norm Macdonald joke right there.
Yeah. It could be, because they certainly get a whole bunch of bad shit happening to them, justifiably or not. But if your name was Hitler, that seemed like that would follow.
There's also on the actual serious side of that sort of conversation, how pleasant the world is from the 1970s didn't ring true to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are basically carny folk. Like, there should be like racism, there should be like homophobia,
right?
And, like, everybody seems kind of chill. I mean, not chill, but like, this should be a lot worse. And it did. I'm not saying it dragged me out, but it didn't steep me in authenticity.
Well, yeah, like when they're at like the frat party, or they're on campus or whatever, and Carrie's doing keg stands, and like he's in a bar, kind of getting into some trouble with some people a little bit later. It doesn't have that kind of dive bar danger kind of feel to it or anything like that. Like, there's no elements of any of that. Yeah. It's all sort of generally pleasant, except for these guys' personal lives.
I mean, also, I guess I didn't really take into account they are swole as fuck white people. So I guess if there was going to be any problems, I probably wouldn't address that to them.
Yeah, I mean, and you can only have so many scenes of like a drunk guy being like, I could take him, you know. But it's still like, I understand what you're saying, where it does kind of present this sort of, that they exist in this sort of squeaky clean world.
Yeah, like they all had long hair in the South in the 70s. And I get that was a thing. But at some point, the F word would have been dropped. There's no, and I'm not saying I want that for the movie. Just, I think this movie does lack a bit of drama at times.
Well, and as much as I like the behind the scenes stuff, there's a lot of it that's like, again, just sort of glanced over, like that everyone, with the exception of Ric Flair, it seems like, oh, they just got along with everyone and there was never a problem with another person at all.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to like get mad at the movie for what it isn't. It's not an expose on wrestling. I agree with you in that, like, adding some sort of additional drama, not just more bad things happen. I mean, that's like a fucking Dancer in the Dark, Lars von Trier kind of movie where it's just, and then it gets even worse. But this doesn't have the
Bjork. Doesn't have Bjork.
It doesn't have Bjork, but it also doesn't have the misanthropic tone. That it is still like, this is all awful, but it's also like, that's what life is. You know, like there's positives too. It's not like a Lifetime movie. It's like, but despite all this, I learned how to suplex. It's you know, that like, yeah, this is really some really fucked up stuff that happened, but then here's how Kevin gets through it. Versus just like, I mean, like, oh, this is, life is all meaningless, nature is murder. I have a dumb haircut, so I'll kill myself too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, those are also valid options. Yeah. I would wonder what wrestling nerds thought of this, because there are some references, like, so Jerry Jarrett buys out their thing, and that's Jeff Jarrett's dad. Do you remember him, the cowboy guy?
The name sounds very familiar. That seems like when I was on my way out.
Yeah. But like, they have some times where like normally they wouldn't mention a name that they do, and I wonder if there's like a bunch of kind of hidden shit that, like, if you're like a super dork, you'd get a little bit more out of. I mean, obviously I don't know. Yeah. And then the movie kind of wraps up with, well, not kind of, the last scene is Kevin watching his kids play football in the backyard and him just starting to cry because he used to be a brother. And boy, that was Niagara Falls, Frankie Angel for me. Like, I was just like, oh shit, crying right now. This is happening. Oh no.
Yeah. I have a sister. She's great. I don't have any brothers, but like, I totally get it. Like I could feel that. And then, as we mentioned, that sort of weird Island of Wight scene where they're all sort of reunited, that it's sort of Kevin fantasizing about that. But then, like, when his kids come up at the end and is like, don't worry, Dad, we can be your brothers. That was like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that hurt.
Here come the waterworks. Now he's going to cry.
So the weird heaven scene happens when he's picking his brother's body up and walking into the house. Mm-hmm. And he brings the body and just puts it on the kitchen table, which is, I mean, I guess you're grieving, so it does, but like,
yeah, just, what did she put on the couch? Get the upholstery bloody? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, you got to eat on that table, though, bro.
Yeah, just get a new tablecloth. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they're probably used to it now. They've already killed like 5 kids.
Yeah.
That last scene like really got me. And then, because, you know, really, Zac Efron won me over. And then the kind of, he went on to have a bunch of kids and grandkids, and they show the real Von Erichs, and they were in the WWF Hall of Fame. It's just like, I didn't need that.
That, like, particularly, I don't know. The WWF doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I mean? Like, I understand it might to these people, whatever, but like, that's like a Carney, you know, you won best Carney or something like that. Like, I understand that, and I don't mean to like crap on wrestling as a whole. I just mean specifically the WWF is just an awful organization that sucks. That's like I won the Epstein Fund or something, you know.
Yeah.
It was just also sort of like wrestling in general.
They didn't, at no point, and again, I wanted maybe a little bit more of Kevin's like later career. They didn't make a point of like, did he ever wrestle for the WWF? Did he ever try to? Like,
yeah,
it's not, that had no relevance to the story. So him joining the Hall of Fame,
it kind of seemed like he was like just done wrestling, but it doesn't. Yeah, but like not. I don't know. I wasn't really clear on what his thing, because he was running the ring, you know, the venue that he eventually sold. But it's like, yeah, but was he still wrestling as well? Was he just doing that? Was he retired?
Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about this movie. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I do recommend it. I recommend it. Check it out. It's like I found it frustrating in parts, but it's 100% worth seeing. And I really hope that Zac Efron gets more roles doing dramatic stuff and not just Baywatch, because I think he's shocked, surprised, didn't know the guy, but he's great. I thought he was really good in this.
Same. Yeah, I think we probably were a little harsh on it because, again, those are the movies we're the most harsh on, are the ones that we like. God, this was almost amazing.
Yeah, but you can tell like a lot of love and care went into this. This isn't thoughtlessly made. It's just not
really
like
worth watching.
It feels like it's missing in space. But yeah, absolutely worth watching.
And if you ever want to see a swole as fuck Gene Wilder with very little package, this is the movie for you.
Alex has some drawings he's made.
many drawings.
Willy-less Wonka.
I think I said it earlier, but yummy noise. I had there's someone I communicate with on the internet that was somewhat lamenting that I haven't been as horny on the show, and they mentioned that I haven't done yummy noise in months. So it's like, all right, challenge accepted.
Please tell that person I hate them.
All right, will do. I mean, they just probably heard you. Speaking of what we're going to recommend for people, yeah, you got anything?
Yeah. Speaking of like manly men stuff, I watched Lee Marvin in Point Blank, a John Borman movie. John Borman being the guy who did Zardoz.
Yeah. Point Blank. You shoot the hostage. Yeah.
This actually
Lee, Anthony Kiedis.
No, that's Point Break.
Yeah. Point Blank. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Wayans.
Anyway, this is based on a series of books I enjoyed, the Parker novels by Donald Westlake.
Series what now?
Books. They're a thing that you read that aren't just anime.
All right. Looked like someone's 40K kayfabe has been broken.
Yeah.
Chekhov's kayfabe finished. Good job, Alex.
Yep.
Self high
third
five.
act.
Wrestling reference.
But it's very stylish. I thought it was going to be a lot more sort of like gritty and hardcore, because those books are sort of that way. But it was very stylish, which makes, like, when you realize it's John Borman, you're like, oh, Zardoz makes a little bit more sense now why it's that way. That, and then I highly recommend Connor O'Malley's stand-up special available on YouTube called Stand Up Solutions. That's hilarious. It's basically like the gimmick of the show is that he's a guy trying to sell, like you're an audience of investors and he's trying to sell an AI stand-up comedian. And
fun.
If you're familiar at all with this stuff, there's a lot of like themes that he does, or like bits that he does repeatedly. Not bits, but just sort of like ideas that he explores a lot in that. And it's very, very funny.
Yeah, I don't really like themes.
What about you?
Thank you for asking. I was seeing if you would ask. My love language is people asking me things.
Will you shut up?
God. Yummy noise.
Fuck.
Cumsies.
Nope.
What are some other Alex classics?
None.
None. I've never said anything good.
Do this away from me.
I am struggling to remember what I've watched recently.
The Voice?
Give me a minute. Oh, okay. The Fallout show is pretty good. I'm not like, that's a soft recommend because I'm trying to remember the thing I just finished. Oh, I know I talked about X-Men 97, but it's really fucking good. I finished it. Like, watch it. It's great.
Yeah, it's just because I started watching Invincible, and I'm kind of like, the writing on that show is just like the dialogue's killing me. So I might.
How deep did you get into it?
I'm only on like episode 2.
I seem to remember. Well, whatever. If
there's bits I like, there's bits I don't like. I'm willing to stick for a little bit, but
if this is a spoiler, whatever. Does he have his powers yet?
Yeah.
Like he got that when episode 2?
He gets it at like in episode 1. He starts,
but like kind of the end, and then 2, he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, he's already like trying to flown something like that. He has a costume now. I think 1 ends with him getting a costume.
Okay, yeah. I think give at least episode 3 a try. There's not that there's a thing that happens, but I remember going like, oh, now the show's cooking, and it's
okay. I kind of figured. I mean, like, because I'm enjoying J.K. Simmons, whatever, but just like, and it's just comic booky dialogue that is driving me crazy.
Do you know anything about Invincible?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because when the not to spoil anything for the audience, no, but when that thing happens, it gets super.
Well,
good.
I think that if we're talking about a different that thing happens towards the end of episode 1. That happens at the end of episode 1.
Yeah. That is part
and
of it.
That is I'm interested in what's going on there.
Yeah, that kind of grows. Yeah. So X-Men 97 is worth watching. Fallout's worth watching. and I'm rewatching Fringe for probably the 5th time, and that show's
Oh, nice.
fucking great.
Is that
John-
what is that on these? Is that streaming somewhere?
It's on HBO, or Max, I should say. But John Noble is so fucking good. Every time I rewatch it, season 1 is a little weird, but then like the end, it's just kind of warning if anybody decides to listen to me this time. It's not one of the shows where you skip the first season. It's not DS9 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I forgot there's a thing that happens at the end of season 1 that I'm like, that might be the coolest reveal that's ever happened, which in my head, that's like season 2 shit. I'm like, oh no, they've been laying the groundwork for all the cool shit, but I kind of forgot what had happened.
Right.
And there's like this massive reveal. I'm like, it's just super great. Yeah.
Because like I started watching it a long time ago, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, well, I'll throw that on. I'll watch that again, and like it left Netflix the next day or wherever it was streaming.
Yeah. It's on Max. Highly recommend it. I'm sure there's websites that'll tell you this, but like it is one of the shows where there's full out, you could just skip this episodes. That I might recommend just because it's back in the day that there was a whole shitload of episodes per season, especially season 1. There's a few that are just like totally fine, but it's like Monster of the Week X-Files thing where it's like, yeah, the goo monster fell down the fucking thing. Who can, like it doesn't, it no building pieces are being thrown up for the rest of the, narrative. Let's think about this. For next episode, John, I would like you to pitch something to me. Let's say that like, I don't know, let's say some kind of Cenobite comes down and he's like, I want to name 2 things. I want you to name me 2 things. And that will be the movie we watch. John, what do you think that would be?
Knowing Cenobites as I do, they're very into pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would like to have more access to giving people pain. So they'd like to gain access. And so I think we should watch Pain and Gain. We should keep Muscle Bound May going, even though it will be June. And check out Michael Bay's Pain and Gain.
I didn't know that's where you're going with this.
And Zootopia.
It is both painful and I gained less time out this earth.
I love monsters and I love ink. I have good sick tats.
Zoos are where we put nature inside to make them suffer. I gained health.
But yeah, we're actually going to do a Michael Bay movie. We have yet to do one.
That seems impossible. Have we really never done a Michael Bay movie?
We've never done a Michael Bay movie.
Wow.
Yeah. We've done some like Michael Bay type movies, like Gone in 60 Seconds, but no, never a full on Bay. And this is Bay, like he's done a bunch of the Transformers movies. He is like doing his own thing. He is very Michael Bay.
What's the phrase?
Bayos?
Yeah, Bayos.
If you don't keep up, you're gonna find this up your ass.
Oh God, yeah. All right.
But, so we're gonna be checking that out. That is currently streaming on Paramount. You can also find it anywhere, or if you feel like renting it or owning it on physical media, you can do that too.
Yeah. Or let's get back to BitTorrenting things because the internet's getting terrible, and I want to start stealing stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're stealing from us with the AI and the Husafus. Did you see the Scarlett Johansson thing?
Yes.
Yeah, and then where she's like, hey, why are you using my voice? And they keep like uncovering all these things where Sam Altman, the head of OpenAI, like was clearly referencing her and all this other stuff.
He asked her.
Yeah, and then they like, no, we have an actress, but we're keeping her name private for publicity purposes. Like, yeah, because actresses hate publicity; they don't want to get their name.
You know what's crazy about that is if you remember her. There was another actress did that entire movie, and then Scarlett Johansson replaced like, this
Samantha
is
Morton,
weird fucking recursive shit,
right? And then Tasha Leone, meanwhile, is like, hey, I'm gonna make a studio for doing AI stuff. Come on, what's you're on the wrong side of raspy voice computer stuff.
Yeah, I love her so much though.
Yeah, but this was a misstep.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like give me like a raspy voice like New York Jew lady any day. Like that's just like that's my vibe.
I just want to listen to her tell stories about Hollywood and whatever. I enjoy that. I didn't watch any of the the Columbo show that she's.
I didn't see that. I like the Russian Doll. That was good.
I didn't see that one either.
You should watch Russian Doll. It's really good.
Yeah.
First season is great. Second season is totally okay.
Yeah, that's sort of
the first season's like actively great. Like it's
really good. I just never got around to.
Get around to it and report back.
Doing kayfabe in the ring.
Yes. John and Alex like Russian Doll.
Well, Alex does. John has not weighed in on it yet.
I can speak for you.
Okay.
When you signed the contract here, you gave a lot of rights away to me.
That's true. I did not read that at all.
Yeah, I know. Like the amount of things that I blamed on that contract over the years, like, boy, by the way, I'm like almost like in a Madam Web type thing. I saw the future and I knew what to write in there.
Damn. If only I'd seen Madam Web ahead of time.
All right. Anyway, I have to go study spiders in the Amazon. I will see all of you guys in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Goodbye.